ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the SH MonsterArts Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla. Just to get this out of the way, this figure was unfortunately donated to the channel by our friend Kaiju Dork. The poor lad pre-ordered both Godzilla and Kong, got them in, and unfortunately, they both broke on him. Now you might be asking, Rob, we've seen pictures, we see you holding it, where is this guy broken? Well, I'll show you. But showing you and further explanation will be happening after I talk about this lovely box. I might not be able to rely on SH MonsterArts for putting out a quality product all the time, but what I can count on is an absolutely lovely box, and they've done it yet again. Blues, purples, reds, oranges, this splash of color. Very, very cool. You'll get Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 on the side with a picture of old Goji. Same for the other side, but no picture of Goji. Monsterverse over here, some dorsal fins. And on the back, we will have our open window with some product shots and some stuff that I really can't read. From afar and up close, this figure looks perfectly fine. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it, right? Wrong. But it's a very small issue. I don't know if you lot can tell it or not, but the wrist joint over here is just a bit too shiny. That is because this very same wrist joint is from my 2014 SH MonsterArts figure. Why is it on this and not the 2014 figure? Poor old Kaiju Dork was a victim of some SH MonsterArts buffoonery. Yeah, the wrist joint broke. Now I know that Kaiju Dork didn't do this himself because the kid's got a lot of SH MonsterArts figures and knows how to handle them. In fact, he's got pretty much all of the 2019 versions that was released by SH MonsterArts, so I don't exactly think that this is all on him, and oh dear, yeah, it just snapped right off. But for the most part though, and this might be a surprise to some, maybe even many, that is the only major issue I have with this figure.
ShinRobjira saying something positive about Sham? What is this?
Hey man, listen, I might not like SH MonsterArts for the most part, but when they put out fire, I will compliment them for the fire. And for the most part, this figure is very, very fire. Let's take a closer look. GVK Goji over here is detailed like an absolute dream. That's something I've never denied when it's come to SH MonsterArts. Sure, some of their figures are poorly painted to the point where it's like, wow, you paid $70 for that? But the sculpts and the molds used are truly the highest of qualities. From head to toe, 2021 Goji do be looking rather fantastic. And I really can't say that I'm upset with how this thing looks, even in the slightest margin. Believe me, it's weird for me too. I'm not used to talking about SHMA in such a positive light. I especially love the paint that adorns the crotch, waist, chest, neck, and underside of Godzilla's throat and chin over here. It looks really, really nice, and it wasn't something that I was outwardly expecting to see. Very good stuff there, Sham. For the most part though, when it comes to paint, that's really the last you're gonna see until we get to the back of the figure. Inspecting the Godzillian crotch pits over here, there will be no variation of paint anywhere else. Although the toenails seem to have some kind of variation of paint or some kind of a finish on them, which is interesting. And I do believe the same was done on Godzilla's nails. These, however, are the sprawled out hands. Let's take a look at the more common collected looking hands. AKA, why the hell would you even use these hands? The sprawled out hands look so much better, but yes, it does look like the nails have some kind of a different paint or finish on them to kind of differentiate them from Godzilla's skin. Good show there, Sham. I'm sorry, I have to stop calling them Sham. This isn't a sham of a figure at all. I must say that I love the detail on these sprawled out hands over here. They're very gnarly looking, very animalistic looking. I mean, they are hands on an animal. They should look animalistic, but it just aids in giving this Godzilla such lovely and attack-ready poses. And again, I just have to comment on just how much detail is present on just the arms alone. Very, very well done. Let's just get this out of the way now, from the head to the neck to the shoulders to the body to the hips over here. There's a lot of fantastic detail. I love it. I really do. Though I guess we should go back to the head and really talk about all the details up there, and I can address this thing right here. Yes, this is a case of vacuum head slash neck, but all the photos we had seen prior, this thing was just a little bit too pushed back. It does move forward and it does give Godzilla more of a natural look. Yes, it is a bit of a loose fit over here, but to be completely honest, it really doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would, and it's easily fixed. Just pull it out, you're fine. I've seen a lot of reports of this guy having terribly painted teeth, and to be completely honest, and I don't mean to bring out my negative side here, I mean, when it comes to SHMonsterArts, their teeth painting game is here nor there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and the fact that this is all one singular color and it looks like Godzilla shoved an entire bottle of Colgate toothpaste in his mouth, I really don't think these look so bad. And thankfully, Godzilla doesn't have a dented brow, as I've seen a few copies have. And personally, I don't have an issue with how the inside of the mouth, the side of the mouth, or any of that looks at all. In fact, just to get this out of the way now, it doesn't even look like Godzilla's eyes were painted. It looks like they were inserted in there. There is zero trace of any paint around his eye socket. It's honestly really, really impressive. And yeah, we do got a bit of a funky seam line going on over here, but that doesn't really bother me too much. Honestly, when it comes to SHMonsterArts, I'm not bothered by a lot of things that people have issues with, be it gaps, be it seam lines. No, that doesn't bother me at all. It's just how painted or unpainted the figures actually are. Just when it comes to GVK Goji over here, they really didn't need to do too much, did they? I've seen a lot of division when it comes to the paint on Godzilla's dorsal fins, that it's not accurate enough, any of that. I like it. I think it's fine. This is very much in line with what NECA did with their V2 Godzilla 2019 figure, just mixing and matching different blues, only this time it's much more metallic. I like it. I think it looks sick. It lights up in pretty much any kind of light, and it showcases all of that amazing detail. I am very much a dorsal plate, and SHMA did good by me. Sure, it might not be accurate, and some people might have a bit of a stick in the about it, but this is one of the instances where I just can't agree with you. The dorsal fins are painted all the way to the tip of the tail in a very beautiful and neat fashion. And again, when it comes to the color, when it comes to all that, it's all preference. I don't have an issue with it at all. I don't even have an issue with that little dot of metallic paint that's not in the right place. It's just there. I'm not going to complain about that. Speaking of which, just how these dorsal fins were painted, which looks like it was started with a spray, really does just help sell the fact that Godzilla's back is glowing. In between the dorsal fins as well, that lighter, whiter blue really does catch the light, and again, further adds to the concept that Godzilla's back is glowing. And it's not just on Godzilla's back, it's on his tail as well. There is a remainder of this silvery white over here to a certain point on the tail that just gives off a glowing feature. And it's very, very nice. It does stop once you get to the more so tail end of the tail. But it's effective. It's great. Honestly, dude, with a base price of $60 freaking plus tax, that would probably come out to maybe $75, $80. This is really, really nice. I do wish that we did get a beam effect though, because I feel like that really just would have sold this as like the perfect SHMA Monsterverse Godzilla figure, but we got replaceable hands. I don't understand why it was even that much to begin with, but I love the paint, I love the detail. 2 solid stars from me. Is it time for articulation yet? No. We have to compare this lovely Goji boy to this lovely monkey. I promise this won't take too long. I just wanted to showcase that Sham Godzilla and Playmates Kong do scale pretty well together. They look really nice together, honestly. The height difference feels right, and even though they're from different makers, they still are a pretty perfect fit for one another, surprisingly. Sham Kong really didn't appeal to me too much. I think he looks really off, so the fact that these two fit so well together makes me very happy. But for the most part, Goji be looking good with a Kong. Let's move on. It's time for articulation, and there is a lot to go over. So, we've got a ball joint at the head, a ball joint at the neck. There is a joint over here at these 2 points of the neck, but it's very, very stiff, and I feel like that's a good thing. And the range of movement, as you all know by now, this guy can look all the way up. He's got a bit of a slit neck over here, so we're going to bring that forward a little bit, and we're going to do that, and it looks just fine. A very easy fix. If you're like me and you're out here using that as a reason to not get this figure, shut up, grow up. This is as closed as I can get the mouth, but the mouth can open nice and wide. I haven't been able to get the tongue to move. I don't know if it can actually move, and I really don't want to push it. And for the most part, when it comes to Godzilla looking a specific way, you can get him going left and right and up and down in many different ways. Me personally, I would like to see this amount of movement in every Sham Godzilla release, but I don't think that's going to be the case, especially with something like 89, which I will say I am not getting because $95 for nothing? Absolutely not. So when it comes to Goji's torso this time around, he can bend down about that far, he can go back about that far. There's a nice ball-jointed movement going on over here. He can go any which way, as you can see. And with the help of the joint directly below that, the movement meter goes off the charts. Just look at that. He's like an egg in a spoon. And since this area over here is a little bit softer than the rest of the figure, it is going to allow some rotation going on here. But I don't want to push it because I don't want to break this, because I genuinely really like this release. Before we move on any further, the arms can go all the way around. You're going to be able to swivel at the elbow. Oh dear. You're also going to be able to bend at the elbow. Wait for it. We'll be able to swivel there as well. This one's a little bit loose on me. And you will be able to swivel at the wrist and bend up and down at the wrist and rip the hand off, spin this to the side a little bit, put the hand back on, and you'll get some side-to-side bending as well. Now, I'm sure, as most of you have seen by now, because there's quite a lot of very fantastic reviews out on this figure, the arm joints on this figure are one of the many reworked parts of the figure, and it does allow for a lot more movement, apparently. But on mine, it kind of looks like Godzilla's arm is a little bit dislocated, but it really doesn't stop from any kind of movement. It's just when looking at him from the back, which you're not going to be doing, it's just weird to see this protruding out while the other arm does not. Just some food for thought there. Moving on to the legs, Godzilla's legs can go all the way around and they can kick up very, very high like so. You will get a rather nice bend at the knee over here. You do have to finagle a little bit with the leg parts over here just to make sure they're not running into one another. You will be able to swivel at the shin/calf area, and you will get a ball joint at the foot, giving it a pivot. Not the craziest or deepest pivot in the world, but a pivot nonetheless. The same, of course, can be done on the other side. Bends in and out, you got your swivels, you got your pivots, it's all there. And with the help of some balance and some of these reworked joints, we will be able to get Godzilla into some pretty deep and low poses. You can even recreate a couple of scenes where Godzilla's crawling on all fours like an alligator. I personally feel it's worth mentioning. You gotta. And of course, it's not an SHMA Godzilla release unless you have a bunch of ball joints in the tail that are going to be able to either hold a pose or not. Yeah, I'm really not too upset about all of this. This seems to be a issue with pretty much everybody's, but the droopage is a bit on the upsetting side when it comes to the tail. I feel like all of my SHMA Godzillas just have droopy tails, but actually, no but. I thought I was going to be able to get this into a proper pose with a nice curve, but no, it's not going to hold with an up curve like that, but it will hold with a nice grounded curve like so, which will definitely help me in getting this guy some proper shelf space, that's for sure. Articulation for the most part is 150% SH MonsterArts. You can get Godzilla into a bunch of nice and cool poses that just further accentuates the reason to love this figure. The tail not being all that solid is a bit of an upset, but at this point I've pretty much grown used to it. No, I'm not going to be taking points off just because one point of the tail is a little bit droopy. When it comes to the overall figure here, the articulation and posability is great. It's fantastic. I'm gonna give it a solid star. That's 3 solid stars on this thing already. And in all honesty, it's just gonna get better from here on out. Before I end this review off, I actually wanted to do a couple comparisons with my SHMA 2014 figures, just to show how far the Monsterverse design has come. And when it comes to the head and the neck movement, 2014 Godzilla absolutely stands no chance against 2021 Godzilla, or 2019 Godzilla overall. The movement is just not in favor of the original, and even when it comes to the torso movement as well, I would definitely say that GVK Goji and KOTM Goji absolutely just wipe the floor with these guys. There is no competition, and when it just comes to being an accurate figure, I think GVK Goji takes the cake yet again. Now, since I do not own a 2019 Godzilla, which I am regretting by the second of this review being recorded, I'm only going to be able to compare compare and contrast the atomic breath with just the 2014 Spitfire version, which, as you can see here, looks perfectly fine. In fact, I'm just thinking about displaying this guy with this atomic breath piece while keeping the 2014 Spitfire version at a different pose. It just looks so much cooler with this guy, and I just can't stop posing him with it. It's a personal thing, I guess. And that, everybody, is pretty much that. I've got nothing but positive things to say about GVK Godzilla over here. But before we do go, just to have a couple of quips here, it was pointed out to me that these figures feel different from other releases, and it was also pointed out to me by Kaiju Dork himself that this was made in Vietnam, while other SHMA figures have China on the bottom. This guy definitely does have a different feeling from the rest of my SH MonsterArts figures, and for the most part, I do like it, but I would say, hey, SHMA, please maybe just strengthen up your wrist and leg joints over here so we don't have another breakage issue like our good friend Kaiju Dork had, because this is pretty egregious. But that seems to be a mostly isolated incident, but it is still rather unfortunate. The only other issue I guess I could say that I have is that the crotch plate over here is kind of floating, and I guess the 2019 versions were like that, and this portion right here is a little bit loose and kind of slides all around as I'm posing it, but that's not even worth taking points off of, because you can fix it, you can pose it. That's what these things are meant to do. They are meant to pose, they are meant to move, and I can just pose and move this thing around and it'll fit just fine. But for the most part, everybody, that's about going to wrap it up. 3 solid stars on a new SHMA figure, color me surprised, but honestly, I'm not that surprised. Yes, I was a little hesitant on picking these things up for myself, and I am kind of regretting not getting them at this point, but in all honesty, I'm very much happy with my Movie Monster series figures, I'm happy with my NECA figures, and I'm not going to go chasing SHMA releases unless they're of designs that I really, really like. For anybody wondering, no, not getting Final Wars Goji. Hate that design for the most part. Would love to pick up Godzilla Ultima, but if he's going to be $95 starting, I'm just going to press pass on that, especially if he only comes with hands. Yeah, I don't much agree on the prices and only having one accessory or no accessories, Mechagodzilla included. Seriously, $150 for an extra inch in height die cast and hands? That's a bit ridiculous. That thing better be made out of full die cast if you're charging that much, Sham. But I like this figure. I enjoy this figure a lot. I can't wait to add him to my collection. I can't wait to find a place to add him into my collection. Those shelves are filling up very, very quickly. I enjoyed taking a look at this figure. I hope you enjoyed my review of it. If you would like to see more new SHMA reviews, you should consider checking out my Patreon so you can kind of help fund some purchases in here, because I'm kind of all ordered up for the summer into the fall, so any extra funds will help. You don't need to do that, it's just a suggestion. I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time, where we will be talking about more canned food. See you then.